going to Genesis. I wanted to share a little bit first about what we shared yesterday, a lot we shared on our last talk about potentially we're throwing down in third, 666, body, soul, spirit. And we talked a little bit about what we're constructing as far as the frequency of the ark and what is the ark. And you shared something that is extracted, and I wanted to bring clarity to it. And we're talking about the Zohar, and because it's directly connected to the ark, and I wanted to express what this was because it's really important. But before I do that, I wanted to clarify that first of all, anything that I'm sharing, fold it, burn it, keep it. It doesn't. It's whatever it is.
I tell the people that if it doesn't resonate with them, just to flush it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that first of all, that I don't need anyone to be formed like me. We need to be formed individually in who we are. So that's unique freedom. And it's just where we are, and we're just sharing it. But that being said, what I do and what Carrie does is the same but different. Just for clarity, I don't read like the Law of One. I don't read Urantia or the esoteric renderings from other people. The Spirit has kind of nudged me in a way that to keep it organic, I simply go in and intimately connect with Spirit, and then the Spirit shows me, and then I go, and it just organically unfolds. And I said, well, this is what I'm seeing. And then I extract it out, and then I share with Carrie. She's going like, wow, that, because she reads that. That's what she's done. That's her.
That's what the Spirit's had me do, is to gather resources and go do those things and search them out where Ken doesn't.
And that's your personality.
I'm word oriented, so the way I learn is through reading.
Right. So I just want to be clarity to that, just so people know that I'm not being influenced by an outside force. You are my bearing witness to what I do, and then you render it through your own renderings of what you've brought in as your summation, and then you can connect and assist me so I don't get too ether.
Right, and then I can connect your ether to people who have already read or have partaken of different sources of knowledge.
Right.
So they can see how the language is connected to all of these things.
So I just want to be clear to that's the way we do it, so that I'm very much a stickler for not regurgitating another man's interpretation. It limits me, and I am so in love with the Spirit that it should be able to bear witness to me, and if it speaks the same, then it is the same, and that gives it gives value to other renderings. Then if I can see this, so anyways, that's how we do that. But so that being said, would you please explain from your point of view of Zohar, because really it's just a word to me, right? Because everything is how I see it's a frequency to me. So what you've extracted as Zohar, why is that an important word, and what does it mean in that?
Well, in a simple phrase, just simple, it means illuminated or illumination.
No, I mean I know.
You mean through Zadi Hey Resh?
No. What I mean is break it down through what the Zohar is through the Kabbalist point of view of why it's the thing. Like, why is it? I'm going to break down what it is.
I haven't studied it. I just know it's called the Book of Illumination, and it is based on the Hebrew language. And the Kabbalists use it as a way of learning, but it is written in English. So therefore, it's an English translation of esoteric Hebrew knowledge, but it's been stripped of a lot of its vibration because it's been rendered down into the English words.
Okay, perfect.
So it's the Book of Illumination. And when you read it, you can tell that it's very esoteric. I mean, I haven't read the whole thing. I've just read a couple passages in it, but I can see the code underneath it by the English words.
Okay.
So simply because we've studied the language.
Okay, and that's all I really wanted. I don't know what the Zohar is other than what I don't.
Right.
Get.
Understood.
Okay, so but I know what it is from what I see in the frequency. So I want to state this first to say why I'm going, because we're building something, and what does it resonate to, and what is the likeness of it, and so we have a Bible as already a form that is, and I don't mean limited, but if you see greater, then it is limited based on your greater perspective, right? It's just progressional. So, but.
Well, it's interesting that Bi means two, and Bol, you can relate it to the Aleph, but really it's Bet Lamed. It's inside authority.
Right.
So 2 teachings that will give you inside authority.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the twins today, and also I want to break it down to what Zohar is and what we're building, because it's directly connected to the ark, because we are the ark, and these ones that build it will be resonating to that frequency. But I wanted to connect this to our last teaching about why I said that what I'm seeing is a separation and a falling into love, and a separation into thirds, a body, soul, and spirit in a 666 dynamic. And we shared a little bit about that with even the word for ark, tava. And let's just start right there. So if you want to bring that up again, just to refresh, and then we're going to move into the verse, but it's 8392. Strong. I'm still working on the foundation of the garden, of a theft in the garden. And I'm carrying the template through now to New Testament about when Yahshua died on the cross. There was him and 2 thieves.
I was just talking about that, or writing about that this morning.
So, if we were just to draw a picture, even if you just drew 3 tovs on a piece of paper, 3 X's on the Paleo Hebrew.
Right.
Okay? And so we know that one in the center would be Yahshua, and then we have a thief on the other side. So we have one that's completed in the center, and you can say if it's like a cross, which is the sign, so you could actually say that there's 22, 122, right? So one in the center, Yahshua, would have been the completed one, and then we have a 22 and a 22 on either side. Two tovs, right? There's like 3 X's going across, triple
Yeah,
X.
I get it. But,
Okay.
it also would be tav, vav, tav. Because Yeshua would be the vav linking the 2 tavs together.
It would be. But
Which is how you say Thoth.
that's how you say Thoth.
The God of wisdom, Thoth, is tav, vav, tav.
So my point is exactly that, is we have a center, and then we have this information, which we again have rendered it down to writings. I really haven't read the book of Thoth. I know about it, but
You mean like the Emerald Tablets?
Right.
Yeah.
But we know that how it spells, because it's kind of, you can see it in the frequency language that it would have been tav, vav, tav. So,
Well, you can actually see it on the tablets themselves, on their pictures. It's written in Asherit Katav,
right.
Aramaic form.
So in this concept, we have 22 on...
Through Paleo Hebrew.
So we have 22 on the right with mother, 22 on the left with father, vice versa, and then we have a vav in the center, which would be representational of 6 through the vav. Okay? So anyways, I just wanted to bring that clear. And on that story, in the lesser narrative, surely I say to you, because of what you said, you shall be in heaven with me today. Now that was
you shall be with me in paradise today. Yep.
So why I'm saying this is where we're going in this verse is in the earth, our job here is 6-6. The spirit is going to be done outside of here. That we're going to leave the thief in the garden. The breach will stay in the garden, or the breach is going to remain in Sheol.
That makes sense, because in the 3rd density, it's body and soul.
Right.
Spirit is ether.
Spirit's ether.
Yep.
So what I'm seeing, and again, that's just what I'm seeing, is interesting. And then I have to be able to take this back to the garden in Genesis 1:1, and then I'll do that in another day or so, to see why I'm saying this, to connect it all the way to New Testament and about what's about to transact for those that have built the ark.
Okay.
Because I see that there is going to be a removal in whatever degree, and whatever you want to call that. I'm just seeing that you've done the work, and now you're qualified to be in spirit, connected back to to an ether body, still working this dynamic. But I'm seeing this language, like how interesting that he would have arisen with the thief, because he put those pieces together. But part of it, the other guy he was still a thief. He said no.
Well, he didn't ever learn Mother's teaching.
That's the point. So right. so he stayed, because
he wasn't participating in the golden rule.
But in the story, in the narrative, like in the higher perspective, and this is what the Spirit showed me, is like, can you see this? Because this directly ties. Like, oh my goodness, this is cast down in thirds, and the flesh is going to stay in Sheol.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're at 8392?
Tava.
Okay. And we're going down to the one occurrence in Genesis 6:16. And this is the one that's got the Zohar with the Pesach dimensional.
Right.
And then building the window in the ark, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, bata.
Same gematria.
Yeah, it's so it's the same letters but just in different order.
Different order. So now we have the beginning from the end. And that's what we should know. We should know the beginning from the end and the end from the beginning. This is how we separated it out. And so now the ark in the beginning and the ark in the end. And this will be the Bet Tav, the built ones, through the revelation. So this will be the revealing of those that have built correctly in the end.
Yeah, in the time of destruction.
In the time of destruction.
Right.
And so that's 1326. Do you want to go to 1327 real quick?
Precipice.
Precipice. And it's a Bet Tav Hey, same spelling.
Yeah, and it said that this word and the previous word are both from bat.
Right, and that's where we're going to go. We're going to show that because this is what was taken from the garden. This was part of the theft. But you can see that it's only got one occurrence, and it's Isaiah 7:19.
Yeah, and there's that tav vav tav.
And remember, we're talking about the ark, and look what the verse is talking about.
Settle on steep ravines, or shall rest.
Where did the ark rest? In the steep ravines of Mount Ararat, right? So we're talking about in the end resting on the high mountain. Now there's a story being told about what is to be resting and where it is, and this is where the ark is to end up at.
Right, and then it's kind of interesting that you have Nakal in there, which has to do with inheritance.
But you also, if you look at the spell, right, yeah, absolutely. But look at the vav added in that word, right?
Yeah.
Hey, bet, tav, vav.
That's what I said.
Oh.
It's tav vav tav. There's Thoth right there.
There's Thoth right there.
The god of wisdom.
There you go. So that's my point, is like this is to rest in the end, and this is exactly, that is Thoth. This is one revelation of a built one as Thoth.
Yep, because exactly. So revelation will be given to those who have built themselves through the twin covenants that have been connected in their heart that found the one love.
Yes.
And that's why Nakal, the word right before it, that's not only stream or river, right? They will have rivers of living water coming out of them, which is wisdom. But it also means inheritance,
yes,
given to those who have built themselves in love.
Right.
That's big.
Right.
That's really big.
Yeah, it's real big. It's real big. So, and then can you take it to what it was from?
The bot.
Yeah, I think it's 1324. Yeah, 1324. Just so people can see what it is.
Yep, Hebrew measure.
So it's a Hebrew measure. And now the ark is all based on measure. The ark is width and breadth, height and depth. When they say that how to build it, everything's based off of this. So the bot is the measure, and we've already shared that the truck going by. We've already shared that the Bet Tav is the building of love. This is the building, the measure of what love is exactly this. And then without this template, tabnith, then what we have is a void. And this is where we have the void, where vanity comes into. And by definition...
so in other words, if you're building things other than love, it's all vanity.
It's all vanity.
It's interesting that the first occurrence of Bath, the word right before it is Alephim.
Right.
Alephim Bat.
So go to
And we've mentioned Alephim many times.
go to 1007 just so we can see what vanity is real quick. This is a house of vanity. This is a built house of vanity. 1007. We're just going to blow by this just because.
So Bayit Avon.
And so go to 205 Avon.
House of vanity. Mm-hmm. And Avon means trouble, sorrow, and wickedness.
Okay.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
So, and then you also look to exert.
Well, that's interesting that anything that is built in vanity is going to bring you trouble, sorrow, and is wickedness.
This is the complete polemic to finding nothing as 0 point. Vanity. If love is the completion of positive 0 point, then vanity would be the equivalent or the polemic and the negative nothing. This is, you've made yourself nothing. This is part of Tohu Bohu, about being empty and void, because we don't have the Bet Tav, because that was the theft, was how to build love in the earth.
Right. Well, in this first occurrence of Aven, it's a lo, and then it's ha bayit with a tet and not a tav.
You chose incorrectly.
So you have wrestled. So your house, bayit, I mean, that's very, because if you were reading this out loud, you wouldn't know the difference.
No, you'd have to go search.
So habayit aven, a house of sorrow and wickedness, of vanity, you're wrestling, and in between is a low and a low, which means you need to be instructed in the ways of one.
Right. Can you go to one?
And you need to be instructed in the ways of one love.
Right. Can you go to 7723? Just to connect this to what we're leaving behind in the new world, or in when we leave here, what we're leaving. So 7723, you should have shop.
Yep, it's emptiness and vanity.
And then can you go to 7585? Because it's the same spelling.
Sheol.
Sure. And that's
So I guess what it did was take the Sheen Aleph Vav, and the other one was Sheen Vav Aleph.
Right.
And that's really interesting. I mean, we've talked about Sheol many times, right? Mm-hmm. And so it would be the same gematria, the first three letters, that has a lamed on the backside.
Yeah,
like you're going to be going through this process of vanity,
yeah,
over and over and over again until you find a teacher that is going to be able to give you the answers, because Sheol means a place to ask questions.
And then that's where we know where the Temple of Anat is, right?
The House of Answers.
The House of Answers.
And Sheen, but the end of it is Ul.
Yeah.
Which is the root of Ayil, right, which is a pilaster,
yeah,
a ram, strength in the body. Right? It's a strong one.
Yeah.
That went through the fire.
Yeah.
In Sheol.
That's how you get out.
Wow.
Sheol.
So you ask the right questions to burn away that which is not, which remains what is, so that you can have a strong body.
And this is
strength in being.
Yes.
You've connected to your heart.
But this is why the bet was missing, or something happened in the garden, and we'll get to it this next session. About the Bet Tav was build the family's love. This is the bond of the family, and if it's not building love, then everything is in vanity. That's what's coded in that. So you're still going to stay in Sheol,
which is what Solomon totally understood. Why he said it's all vanity, because everything he built in the natural, he knew wasn't going to last.
So back to on the cross with Yahshua, Tav Vav Tav, right, the center, and so now we have a dynamic of Yahshua completed the light journey. He built the ark, the representation of the ark, and he turned the 6 to a 9, and we were sitting there as sovereignty, as the Vav. But what was left was the unfinished. That stayed. That part of it stayed, but he had to still work the process. So that individual in that picture is showing that Bet Tav was still in Sheol. He wasn't going to leave Sheol. The picture showing us that of the three on the cross. Mm-hmm. That's what it's telegraphing through. So let's go back to Genesis 6:16, and let's run through this a little bit to see why I'm feeling this, or why the Spirit's showing me this, because of what we're to build based on the ark, based on just what we shared about vanity and love, the triple cross, the theft in the garden. So let's go to this verse, because this is speaking a little bit about it. And just tell me when you get there.
A window shall you make for the ark, and to a cubit shall you finish it from above, and the door of the ark in its side, set with lower, second, and third decks you shall make it.
Right. So what I'm seeing here...
And just to say, the word with and decks in this verse are totally added.
They're all added.
They were added for grammatical purposes and aren't part of the text.
Right. So could you say it without the adding? Can you read it without the adding?
Yeah, I'll just go back to the bottom part because that's where it is. So I'll just say, of the ark in its side, set lower second, and third you shall make it.
Right. So now we're going to break this down. So let's start with the top, because the first word is Zohar.
It is. It's pronounced absolutely as Zohar.
And then we have a dimensional pasuk beside that.
Yeah.
And so now we have a window. In the window you shall make. So why don't you go to 6672 so people can see this.
Midday, noon, but if you go down, it's a light, a window,
light.
a dual double light, noon, midday.
Right.
From Zohar. So
again, we have dual, because we're going to bring up the tomes here a little bit. So we have a dual light, double light, twin light.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a 6672A, 6672B.
A is midday and noon, and B is probably a roof. Oh, well, okay, I don't get that. It's probably a roof, but it means a window as dual double life. So which is it, a roof or a window?
Well, remember, we've already broken down the ones about getting the beams and the trees, right?
Right, the rafters and the floor.
And so the ark is the ark. It's ark in the chest, but it's also an ark, the buildings of how to build it. So this is all a house construction, because the bet is the building process of completing the temple. So beams and ceilings and floors and timbers.
So we were already dealing with the floor and the ceiling. Now we're talking about the windows in the roof.
Right, because this has this.
Which always, that speaks of covering.
This window in this ark is based off of the lamed, only one occurrence.
Let me go back.
So a window you shall make in the ark. So how do you look into the ark? It's just down a little further on it. So.
Oh, well, yeah, so Genesis 6:16. It's make, and it's letaba.
Right. So that's the only one occurrence of this word ark that has a lamed, and this is the light, the pointing, the rendering, the teachings that direct you, the instructions that goad you in the teachings of light. This is your window. But I wanted you to go into one more word, if you don't mind, with Zohar. Could you go into 6671? Which is still Zohar, right?
Zohar. Is this a root?
The primitive.
Yeah. Yep, to press out oil.
To glisten.
Yep.
Okay.
And this makes sense because we make our own oil for our lamps.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can be illuminated. Which is the whole point of Zohar from Zohar.
Right.
That's how you burn. That's how you become a burning one.
So you can
right? So we're tying seraphim in with the menorah. And we've been talking about that in the previous discussions.
So and you can see there's only one occurrence in that, Job 24:11.
Yeah.
The walls, they produce oil. The wine tread. So we're in the wine press right now. This is where we crush our grapes, because it's the same thing, telling the same grapes and oil are the same. Even though you're crushing grapes, it's still producing your oil. But we're in the wine press, or the grape press, wherever you want to look at, and we are crushing it right now, rendering clear. This is part of the parable about in the end days that they'll be running to and fro to the teachers, asking, can you sell us, the wise and the foolish virgins,
exactly.
Can you sell us some of your oil?
No, can you give us? And they said, no, go to those who buy and sell.
Right.
Which is a symbolic meaning for the teachers of that which is instructions to give you the mark of the mother and the father.
So
known as Torah and Torot, which are just frequencies.
Right.
of love standards, of
Right.
the golden rule and unconditional love.